Excellent. Naughty.
Surprise.
But sex, 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 but sex,
How are we all? No, that's not the track we want. We want this one. There we go. Sorry about the delay. Ricksai, thanks to $4.99. Happy President, Mr. Birthday. It is not my president. Stop saying that. It is not my president today, I swear to God. I'll ban you all, okay? This is non-presidential rum. It's not President Day. God damn, is it good. Alright, I put up the theory options. Remember, we've already paid for 2 theory options already, but those are going to be happening at night. So, I got a busy evening ahead of me. After I'm done stream, I'm going to do some, like, Christmas shopping, then I'm going into a chess competition, and then I am coming back to do theory. Because apparently I'm that kind of nerd, so... What brand of rum? Is it the Kraken? I am not going to tell you. It's expensive. Let's see here. Bear with me. A little slow today. A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. All right. So, what are we doing? Well, before we jump into it, as usual, those of you who are not aware, this is how this works, and I'll demonstrate. So, Rickside, thanks for the $5. Boop! $5 goes to theory. You'll see at the bottom here, there are 2 values. $100 to skip to theory, $100 to give you drama. Here's how it works. In the chat, there is a poll with theory options. If we reach $100 of super chats with the word theory in the text, then we skip immediately to a theory segment in which we cover one of these options for roughly an hour to 2 hours. Usually ends up being about an hour and a half. If, however, you want the regular content to continue, put drama in your super chat, and when that hits $100, the theory value goes down by 50%. So you're competing with each other. More accurately, the better of you are competing with the lesser of you, and shame on those who donate to drama. Shame. 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 So apparently the CEO shooters released a manifesto, which I won't be reading for 2 reasons. First of all, because it doesn't matter. Secondly, because I don't know what YouTube's TOS is about this, but I have seen a number of channels demonetized for reading such things. So, if you find that interesting, I recommend you join the Cathedral server, where such things are discussed in more detail. In perfectly TOS ways, of course. Although, it is rather strange. The assassin is not typically what you'd expect. Doesn't appear to be a particularly crazy leftist. Also doesn't appear to be particularly conservative. He's a weird couple of things. But it also, moreover, doesn't matter. And I think this is actually kind of why the whole thing matters, is that it doesn't matter. When it came to, for example, the Trump shooting, it was a serious question, or at least it was floated as a serious question, of whether or not the motive for the assassination attempt was due to the shooter's consumption of certain political material. Because it wasn't representative of a commonly felt anger that's across the ideological spectrum and is really based upon class, not politics. This is one of the reasons why we're going to look at this in a little bit. This is one of the reasons why Ben Shapiro is getting chewed out by his own audience for talking about how this is an act of far leftist violence. This is the left going too far. First of all, it's not the left anything, but secondly, people who do not make something to the tune of $200,000 a year have experience not being able to afford basic medical health care. The lifespan in the United States has gone down. Richest country on earth. Other countries depend for their defense or for their imperialist genocidal wars on U.S. assistance. There's no excuse for it. Yet it is one of the most savage systems on earth. And what is sort of coming out, not that this was not already out, but what's being laid very bare, is that so-called pro-family conservative pundits, like Ben Shapiro and Stephen Bennell, which we'll get into in a moment, um, hate you. I hate to use a Voshism, but they hate the poor and they want them to die. Um, I've speculated on this a little bit. It came out, I think it was, I don't remember who made us first aware of this, but I do remember when I became first aware of it. Destiny's mother was on stream talking about how he would have loved living on his great grandfather's plantation growing up. And you gotta wonder, like, if you read about the history of plantation slavery, it selects for psychopathy. It kind of has to. I'm not going to speculate any further than that, but I do kind of wonder. And here's the thing. There's a strange tendency in media to assign psychological profiles to particular political positions or political attitudes, such that it depicts people who are essentially cold and classist, etc., as if they have a certain intellectual clarity about life that other people lack as a result. But it's kind of the reverse. A general lack of empathy, a general lack of any sort of warm feeling toward your fellow human beings, a lack of concern for them, as if they are of the same species as you, makes you stupid. It makes you unable to predict how people are going to act. And one of the things that I have really, you notice this very strongly in the YouTube space, because it is entirely dominated by capital in a very rigid way. We are all hustling, just to be clear. Even the most successful are hustling. There is a strange tendency, not just towards survivorship bias, but also to assume that the insulation that wealth provides to the consequences of error demonstrates competence and intelligence. And it's actually the opposite. What has happened is a whole lot of people are now taking part in political debates with commoners, and finding that the commoners are more easily snuffed out than they are, and they are taking this as evidence of their savvy. And it's really not that. It really is kind of the opposite. When the thing about Stephen, one of the reasons why it doesn't really make a lot of sense to talk about people like Destiny and people, even people like Hassan, etc., as persons, is that fundamentally what they are and their significance has nothing to do with their personality. It has to do with the fact that by a long series of fortuitous chances, a certain relationship, a certain money relationship formed around this person as opposed to this person. And that's basically it. And that being the case, at this level, which is not at all levels, to be clear, at this level, there is, in this little like separate ecosystem, there is a certain immunity, because the way in which people are punished for wrongdoing in this form of media is that they are ostracized by other people. They are laughed at by other people. However, the reason why this is a penalty is not because it feels bad to be laughed at by other people. It's because it bars you off from access to growth. It bars you off from money, from connections. It makes people unsubscribe and not pay attention to you. If, however, you are in an ecosystem that has been conditioned, that has conditioned people to depend on their association with large creators in order to succeed themselves, then now all of a sudden, people have a very strong impetus to not make that person angry, to not make that person not like them. If you're a middling to a larger creator whose audience has tremendous entanglements with that community, it can be very dangerous to beef with them, because that can actually cause very serious damage to your bottom line. So, like, if you're a commentary person, like a Nicholas de Oreo or a Turkey Tom or a Willie Mack, And your bread and butter is making videos on the quick, decrying the irresponsibility of people like Hassan Piker for making grandiose statements about politics that affect a lot of people's lives and about social issues that affect a lot of people's lives with zero understanding of the issues. And Destiny, say, advocates for genocide without knowing where the place he's advocating genocide for is on a map. You're going to stay silent. If you're, because that's directly going to impact your wallet. If you are someone, like Willie Mack, Nicholas Dorio, whatever, these kinds of people, Turkey Tom, whatever, and you spend your time criticizing people for being irresponsible in their sexual relationships, being abusive, being manipulative, lying in public, leveraging your audience in order to intimidate ex-partners from speaking out against you, and Destiny does this with his wife or with other people, or he, for example, shares their nudes with random people in order to appear vulnerable so he can get sexual access with somebody else, or share sensitive DMs, and so on and so forth. Just basic violations of trust, possibly amounting to sex crimes. You're gonna stay silent about it. Because if you criticize that, if you get on his bad side, he's gonna make a stink about you. He might even know stuff about you, who knows? But he's gonna make a stink about you, and you're gonna lose a bunch of audience members, and possibly a lot of dough. It's gonna be a massive headache. You're not here for the headache, you're here for the money. And so, as a consequence of this, there is an immunity by these people. And that makes a lot of people very angry. I don't like it very much. But I think it's also important to keep in mind that it doesn't actually matter all that much either. Because we take this back to the CEO shooting. There are people with actual power, tremendous power, who are actively destroying people's lives at a large scale, constantly. Constantly. Just every single day. Every single day, some little old lady is being told, I'm sorry, we can't cover your hospital stay anymore. Go home and die. Yes, I know you just recently suffered a heart attack. Yes, I know your husband died, so you're alone. Land of the free, baby. Sorry, you can't force me to, you can't force our labor to keep you alive. So the significance of people at this scale is not great. Once again, like, the highest height that these people can aspire to is destiny, to be clear. It's Bargain Bin Ben Shapiro, it's White Juan Williams. It's the token that allows a hack like Piers Morgan to be able to say, look, we've got intellectual diversity, here's a leftist progressive. Granted, he's not actually a leftist progressive. He's a classist, hateful psychopath sex offender who's found a loophole. Speaking generally, that can apply to many people. But it gives him the aesthetics he needs in order to run his farce of a show. And also make money, which is fundamentally what this is all about. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. The stuff that happens here up to there does not care. Does not matter. Except to this respect. The domination of this medium of communication by people like that prevents any discourse at this level from mattering. Because it really should matter. There are a ton of people who are very engaged, who are active on here. And it's energy that's being just shot out into space. Does not matter. Does not matter at all. Which is one of the reasons why I'm very perplexed by people who are stupid enough to go rambling about the far left with respect to this CEO shooting, because here's one thing you can't say about it. That did matter. That mattered a lot. That's a big deal. There's a reason why no politicians, no major figures are talking about the underlying causes of this. They're just noting with a little bit of a shiver that, oh, this is weird. A lot of people are seemingly okay with this. Why are people okay with this? Is there a disturbing new trend happening? No, what's happened is the distance between the ways in which people are exploited and their deaths has closed very visibly for a lot of people. Very visibly. And for the first time, there's skin in the game. Because now, it's not a politician who's being targeted. Now it's a representative of a dominating class. From an institution whose entire existence is premised on fighting universal healthcare so that they can squeeze and con poor people who can't defend themselves out of their money only to leave them to die at the last minute. Here's this far-right sex offender. Do you have any idea how little that narrows it down? Although, by the by, since we are talking about far-right sex offenders, little clip from Destiny's stream today. I wanna watch. I wanna watch because it's special. Okay, it is very special. Let me pull it up. I thought I downloaded that. Did it not? Did it not download? God damn it. Hang on. Hang on. Where was it? Spicy chat, don't fail me now. Here we go. So I think if I open this, yeah, there we go. Sweet, got it. Okay, check out friend of the channel Stephen Bennell's coverage of this. It is fucking glorious. You have no idea, guys. This is Destiny's position on healthcare in America. Okay, it's phenomenal. This is we're gonna look at bargain bin Ben Shapiro before we look at Ben Shapiro. We'll get there.
That healthcare is like poor, it's just not true. I know that upsets you. I'm sorry. I know that makes you ass pained as fuck, but
I like how he says ass pain when he very likely has a butt plug in while saying this.
And it's funny. Look, positive views of U.S. healthcare by U.S. healthcare quality by age. Isn't that crazy? The people that rate it the lowest, 18 to 34, are the people that don't even really use it that much. So
why don't they use it, Steve? Is it possible that they can't fucking afford it? And so you have a whole lot of people from 18 to 34 who are just living with their conditions, not even getting diagnosed, because even an emergency room trip is what? How much does that cost you? It's like over $100, isn't it? Like, just to get seen probably kills your ability to make rent if you're making close to minimum wage in the United States. You're more likely to be making close to minimum wage in the United States if you're in a younger age bracket. Like, it's unreal.
You are definitionally out of touch. It's people who...
Sorry, my mistake, my apologies. Sorry. If you think that the American healthcare system, which has seen an overall decrease in the life expectancy of Americans while America is the most powerful, richest country on earth, if you think that has problems, you think that's insufficient, you're the one out of touch. Not the rich meth addict who's been defending the genocide of thousands of children for the past year to make up for the fact that his wife's butt plug is now in Sweden.
Never even had engagement with healthcare, who've never even gone to a doctor before, like, oh yeah, U.S. healthcare is fucking terrible, blah, blah, blah. But crazy that the people that engage with it the most are generally, like, okay with it, right? But, you know.
So fucking stupid. What a fucking loser. Oh my god. Let's find Ben Shapiro. Did he take it down? No, he didn't. It's still here.
Well, folks.
Well, folks. See. His wife's butt plug isn't in Sweden. Here we go. His wife's butt plug is right there in the studio where it belongs.
Well, folks, we have updates in the search for the
Oh my god, that's loud. Why are you so loud? It's just a loud, tiny little guy.
murderer of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. He was, of course, on Wednesday, and there are some pretty deep ramifications for American society and all this. We'll get to that in a moment. First, time is running out. Daily Wire Plus is 50% off, but not for much longer.
Reminder, by the way, that this CEO, name doesn't matter, his tenure was associated with a massive increase of denials, which means that this person who was murdered likely is responsible for the silent, quiet murders of untold numbers of poor people. Just so you know, before your millionaire tears pool too high around your ankles. Oh, I missed a super chat. My apologies. Evil Morty, thanks for the $10. Perfect Boschism, 10 genocides out of 5 Palestinians theory. Thank you very much. And Dank Prole, thank you for the US $10. I recently had an injury that needed 2 stitches and cost $3,000. Jesus Christ. Cost $3,000. Luckily, quote unquote, I have good insurance, so I only have to pay $300. That's fucking unreal. I'm assuming that's theory.
Get a full year of uncensored shows, exclusive series, documentaries, and more, all at half the price. Head on over to dailywire.com/cyberweek.
It doesn't matter. They can't afford it. They're paying for insurance.
Left wing. The real question in all of this is how Americans respond. So Taylor Lorenz, we talked about her yesterday. She is a psychotic former reporter for the Washington Post and the New York Times. She's totally insane. She was insane on COVID. She was insane when it came to the supposed predations of people on the right who ought to, she said, be shut out of media and particularly social media.
Oxygen.
Well, now she is full-scale rallying in favor of the murderer. So she tweeted yesterday on Blue Sky, which is a weird left-wing echo chamber form of Twitter.
As opposed to X, which is the weird Nazi form of Twitter.
There was a post put out by Blue Cross Blue Shield all about whether it was going to pay for anesthesia.
Let's look at the comments quickly. I want to take a look at this. It's not left or right. It's not black or white. It's rich versus poor. Your true colors are showing. I'm not buying this left versus right shit anymore, Ben. I want healthcare for my family. We have conservatives and liberals hugging each other in a comment section before GTA 6. By the way, once again, okay? As far as like pundits like Ben Shapiro are concerned, treat them as you would a particularly disgusting pile of slime that you find underneath your garbage bin that you haven't moved in a long time. But as far as general conservatives are concerned, especially poor ones, here's what you need to understand. They aren't just the consumers of stuff by people like Ben Shapiro. They're also his primary victims. And here's what I mean. There are poor conservatives who are not motivated by contempt for other classes than themselves. They are motivated by contempt for classes that include themselves, and they have been ideologically indoctrinated from childhood to consider it to be their fault if they remain there, and to identify their pride with being quote-unquote honest about the fact that it's their fault that they remain there. And these people often find themselves in a very dark place later on in life because they are the ones who end up being squeezed. They are among those who end up being squeezed very heavily for their money when they most need it, when they most need care, and they don't have it, and they end up broken. These people, like you, want to have a life, they want to have good relationships, and they want to do something meaningful with their time. The problem is that they have been abused since childhood to believe in things that run directly contrary to those aims, and they don't realize it. So the point is not to be nice to conservatives. The point is that be mindful of the fact that the average conservative you encounter is like a normal like commenter or whatever. Very frequently, these people are trapped in a house of mirrors that they did not choose. So I don't know what you do with that information, but just be mindful of the fact that a lot of these people aren't monsters. They're the result of what happens when you let monsters rule over children. Simric, thanks for the $5 theory. I use the VA in the USA, and Trump wants to end that. Never had to deal with insurance. Thank you very much.
It's healthcare coverage. And she then tweeted out, quote, and people wonder why we want these executives dead. So openly cheering the death of Brian Thompson.
I don't think she was cheering the death of Brian Thompson. I think she was cheering the death of an executive. That's a different story. Because, like, I look at like Brian Thompson's face, and I imagine the way his kids look at that face. And the kids don't look at that face and see CEO who has choked potentially thousands of people to death in order to please a board and elevate himself. They see big smiling man who gives them food and protection and is their best friend. And for those two children, their world's been destroyed. The wife, world's potentially been destroyed. Who knows? But it's okay to have empathy for a human being like that, regardless of their position. In fact, I think it's actually really important that we retain the ability to do that, because we also need to not, to the extent possible, we need to fight with the dehumanizing tendencies of capitalism against its victims as well. We need to be careful not to allow ourselves to turn into monsters. However, there is a world of difference between being able to have normal human empathy for a person who is evil both by dint of his willed decisions and actions and his position, and having a reflexive public pity party about someone who is causing the deaths in a much more miserable and costly and torturous and extended fashion of innumerable other people in a silent way, people who've been effectively abandoned by everybody, and to treat this as if this is some unique moral catastrophe, when in fact it's probably the mildest of all catastrophes that could possibly take place given the circumstances. In fact, very likely, insofar as it creates a situation in which, finally, the extent of the misery of the American public and the extent of its depersonhood, its unpersoning of its silencing, is now actually audible for the first time. Not through the killing of the CEO, through the complete indifference of the overall public. Because the only people who are crying about this are people like Ben Shapiro, who have no skin in any game at all. And they are being eaten alive by their own conservative audiences. This is weirdly the closest thing to a unifying event in American history in a long time. Nope, did we lose the connection? I see chat stopped. What's happened? Oh, it's getting blurry, isn't it? What is going on? Hang on, let's see. Stream health. It looks like the connection's strong. I'm very confused. No, you're good? Okay. We're good? All right. So, by the by, you are not required to endorse the killing of the CEO. You know what you're also not required to do? Condemn it. You're not required to do anything. You should probably just say nothing. Say nothing because the killing of the CEO doesn't matter. What matters is that the response to the killing of the CEO has made it such that people who thought that they had staged some monumental coup and that they were immune to the consequences of horrendous crimes done under cover, like unconscionable crimes done under cover of darkness, now realize that, oh, okay. So that is a possible outcome. And I, for one, think that millionaires and billionaires and people in positions of power and organizations whose existence is sucking the blood out of the most vulnerable people in society, I think that those people, feeling a little bit of anxiety whenever a shadow blocks out the sun as they turn a street corner in public, I think that there are worse things that could happen. CEOs are removing their faces from their websites. What does that say about how they view themselves? Yeah. By the way, Stephen Bennell, just so you know, this is why you'll never be one of them. Because you need your face out there. That's because, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, you're as poor as I am. Just so you know. They look down on you. You're trash. They don't want pleb approval.
That wasn't her only post. Somebody put out a statement saying, quote, legislation idea. Healthcare executives and their families must be on the cheapest plan their company offers, and they aren't allowed to seek other care. And she wrote in all capital letters, endorse. Then she put out a post that showed a graphic of a happy star, like a star with a happy face and balloons, and the caption CEO down. And she wrote, woke up to see this spammed in my group chats. And she said, I am...
It is really funny that he's wearing, like, what is that called again? What's that hat called? The cap? A kippa? He's wearing a kippa to signal his Jewish faith. You know there are laws, really serious laws against usury in Jewish scripture, just so you know. Christian scripture too, by the way, because you inherit a lot of it. Under his gelled hair. It's lovely.
Thompson. And what exactly was that legacy? The claim denial rates by insurance companies. And of course, it's not just Taylor Lorenz. Socialist.
I'm sorry. Hang on. Slow down. Let's see here. Slow down.
Down. And she wrote, woke up to see this spammed in my group chats. And she said, I am not alone, that other people were doing the same thing. Then she reposted a post from left-wing agitator Ken Klippenstein saying, today we remember the legacy of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. And what exactly was that legacy? The claim...
President Sunday, is your Twitter account suspended? It is. I told Gay Fesh I hope that he gets dysentery from his nose, and Twitch saw fit to ban me for that. They didn't see fit to ban Andrew Tate, oddly enough, but, you know, welcome to the new overt class war, guys. Literally. Just to be clear, like, this is where we're at right now. People bought the line en masse that social media was, quote unquote, the new public square. The new public square. Elon Musk said this explicitly. And then the richest man in the world is able to buy the public square and is able to allow and ban people on the basis of whether or not he agrees with them politically. Congratulations. You've been in broad daylight, bought out and your skin carved off and worn by the rich. It's amazing. Evil Morty, thanks for the $10. I am Vengeance, I am the Night, I am Batman, the CEO assassin. No. He's not Batman. Here's the thing. This guy's probably a bozo. Or he's magnificent. I don't know. I know nothing about this guy. All I know is that he's really hot. But leaving that aside. The Third Rail, thank you for the 20 gifted memberships. Much appreciated. This guy doesn't matter. The guy doesn't matter. He could be anything. All that matters is the response. It will be interesting to see, because they've arrested him as a suspect. What is it? Mangiano? CEO shooter identita. Let's do CNN. They're rich. Okay. Luigi Mangiana, 26, was found at a McDonald's in Altoona with a gun and a suppressor, both consistent with the weapon used in the murder. Apparently he had a 3D printed gun, although one does have to... It is amazing. Can you imagine someone who's forced to eat at McDonald's being the one to report this guy? It's kind of sad. But good looking dude. But it will be interesting to see how fast and how harshly this person is sentenced. It'll be very interesting to see. It would be very unwise to do it very loudly and very harshly. So I am watching this with some interest. I'm watching this with some interest. Why are they showing us thirst traps on the news? I don't know. I do not know. But I don't disapprove. He is kind of hot if I'm forced to be honest by the gods. He's a good looking guy. Not my type either, but good looking guy. Oh, why am I looking at Habsburg? That's ominous.
Denial rates by insurance companies. And
just going to skirt over that. Yeah, his tenure, his contribution is an increase in denial rates by insurance companies. That's this Brian Thompson. Is it Brian Thompson? I can't remember. I care so little about this man, I can't even remember his name. No, it's not Brian Thompson. Oh, no, it is Brian Thompson. There's an actor called Brian Thompson, so I was confused for a second. Like, Brian Thompson's legacy is more people being denied healthcare, so they're left to die. Left to die. Left to suffer. Left to have diseases increase their problems. By the way, if you're one of those types of people, probably costs American business also millions and millions and millions of dollars because of all these people who now fall out for being able to work, who are not able to work efficiently, who end up having to be replaced, and so on and so forth. Just so you know. But, the costs of crime go up. What happens when you have a parent who's poor and sick? Well, they're not doing the things that a parent ought to be able to do. They're not generally as unable to take care of their children, to pay as much heed to their education, to make sure they're staying out of trouble, to make sure that they're getting the extracurriculars they need to compete with students who have no hardships growing up in life. That's a problem. But that's fine apparently, because we're pro-family conservatives. And we are perfectly, the only murder we are against is the one that can be caught on a camera.
Of course, it's not just Taylor Lorenz. Socialist Nathan Robinson.
Socialist Nathan Robinson. What was that? Did you have a malfunction, Ben?
Complete useless leech on the ass of society.
Like recognizes like.
Posted himself, quote, live your life in such a way that people will be sad when you die. That was above a screen cap of a New York Times headline.
I agree. Live your life so that people will be sad when you die. Notice that the millionaire is not being wept for by anybody except for leeches on the ass of society. Although I'd probably count you more as one of the smaller pit bulls or fishers, but, you know, I like precision.
That said, torrent of hate for health insurance industry follows CEO.
Torrenting is illegal.
Killing. That piece from the New York Times is all about people who apparently were perfectly fine with the murder of Brian Thompson on the streets of New York City.
No, I'm not fine with it at all. No. I'll show you my reaction when I read that. When I read that for the first time, that article. Okay, just so you know how much I'm not okay with it. Oh no! I did that literally out loud. Oh no! And then I ate something.
According to the New York Times, none of this stopped social media commentators from leaping to conclusions and showing a blatant lack of sympathy over the death of a man who is a husband and father of 2 children.
And a millionaire whose tenure resulted in husbands and fathers of children dying of systemic illnesses and other things, heart attacks and so on and so forth, because they didn't have the correct insurance or because they hired people to defraud them. Because remember, these companies don't just deny claims spuriously. When they get taken to court, on the rare occasion someone's able to defend themselves, they will hire crackpot doctors to tell courts that are uneducated on these matters that these conditions are not real, that in their expert opinion, da-da-da-da-da-da. That's a problem.
Children. Thoughts and deductibles to the family, read one comment underneath the video of the shooting posted online by CNN. Unfortunately, my condolences are out of network. A TikTok user wrote, quote, I'm an ER nurse, and the things I've seen dying patients get denied for by insurance, it makes me physically sick. I just can't feel sympathy for him because of all those patients and their families.
Yeah, basically.
And these sorts of messages were incredibly common across the internet. We discussed yesterday a Columbia professor who wrote something.
Do you think the effect of this will be CEOs hiring more bodyguards and passing that cost on to the end user? I would not be surprised if you suddenly see a whole lot of a bigger budget for the cops. Wouldn't be surprised about that at all. I wouldn't be surprised if yeah. You'll see stuff. You'll see stuff in reaction to this, but it'll be subtle.
Very similar.
It wasn't cool at all that he left engraved casings behind that said defer, depose, deny, not cool. No, it's very uncool. Very uncool. Chat, put as many emotes in the chat with the most uncool actor in the world, Jeff Goldblum, in order to emphasize how uncool it is, okay?
Unfortunately, bubbling under the surface of all this is something very serious, really serious. What is that serious thing? The revolutionary left is creeping into the mainstream. Yesterday we talked
I wish. We're not that cool, though.
Liberals versus the left. Liberals are people who disagree with me on public policy, but aren't in favor of, the murder of their opponents. The left is a different thing. The shooting of Thompson has unleashed a wave of evil from members of the left. Thompson was not a criminal. He wasn't even...
No, he wasn't legally a criminal, but he was a parasite on society and his existence was the essential cause of innumerable numbers of families losing members. Oh, this is a good thumbnail shot, actually. That's a good thumbnail shot. That's a very Karen-y face right there. I like that. That suits him. Editor, this is our thumbnail shot, okay? Okay.
Even an advocate of death, the way, for example, abortion or euthanasia advocates are. And by the way, murdering an abortionist or an advocate of euthanasia would be unjustifiable morally in a democratic system.
But you said they're murderers, Ben. You said they're murderers. So you're okay with murder, provided that it's with... Okay, good to know.
Brian Thompson's great sin, according to these people, is that he was the head of a company that exists within a mixed private-public healthcare framework, and that he did his job.
Well, no, he didn't just do his job, Ben. He wasn't just told to do something or he'll get fired. He had a mandate to make as much money for the company as possible, and pursuant to that end, he set in place policies that resulted in poor people, like your children if they were born to probably better parents, finding themselves with severe and debilitating and sometimes fatal illnesses or injuries, and not being able to receive treatment that they paid for. Just so you know, this guy exists, like many people like him exist, specifically to undermine the social contract while allowing it to appear as though it still exists. The reason why nobody is crying for this dead millionaire is not because people have no capacity to feel sympathy for someone on the basis of them having money. It has nothing to do with him being rich. It has to do with the fact that their deaths have been perfectly fine. They have gone unwept for decades. And now all of a sudden we're supposed to care because someone in your echelon, someone whose existence is predicated on feeding off of the suffering of mothers and fathers and grandparents and children, one of them got targeted. You have a particular issue with this one and not with all those other people dying, because this person is like you, and you are worried about you.
That's how health insurance actually works. Some things are covered and some things are not, and you may not...
Yeah, and some things are covered that the company doesn't want to be covered. And so they will interpret things within a certain range, or they will hire people to fudge the reasoning and to give it to give their denial the appearance of having credible medical backing. when in fact typically they will hire people whose entire business has been self-promotion, sometimes for decades, and who are just not engaged with the medical system because they are essentially mercenaries for hire. Although it is kind of crazy to call it a mixed private property block healthcare system. Do you know why it's a mixed private property block healthcare system, Ben? Why? Why don't you have a single payer system? Well, the reason for that is because companies like Brian Thompson's lobby with a tremendous amount of money in order to make sure that that doesn't happen so that they can stay in business, so that they can continue to pull billions and billions of dollars out of Americans' pockets to deny them health care, or to deny them adequate health care when they get it. Because by the by, their terms often stop at a certain distance. And here's the problem. The problem is not that patients don't sign a contract and agree to certain terms. Because just by the by, even if all of the activities of these companies was on the up and up, even if that was so, it is still intrinsically exploitative. Why? Because even if they agree to all of the terms, they are forced to accept poor terms because there isn't a popular alternative, there isn't a publicly accessible alternative that's paid for by taxes. Instead, your taxes go towards killing children elsewhere. They will deny what your doctor says you need. There was an article I'm trying to find that was really good that went into this. Oh, by the way, just so you know, they also deny claims using algorithms now. Just so you know. Just by the by. They will deny claims using algorithms, which means they aren't even considering your case on a case-by-case basis. Just so you know. Dan Saltman, we covered him yesterday, going on about how, look, these companies only have a 6% margin. If they deny some claims, they'll be out of business. Yeah, but you know what can happen if they're out of business is you can pay taxes. You can pay taxes to pay for medical care. That's a thing you can do. You could actually literally charge the amount in taxes from Americans as a flat fee that they would be paying for insurance. That's the thing you could do. Or you can have a single system that is regulated, a single payer system that is regulated so that it is not vulnerable to this level of exploitation. But that 6%, by the way, just so you know, that 6% profits is billions of dollars. That's profit. Billions of dollars. These organizations shouldn't even exist. But billions of dollars. Isn't this more an argument about the ethics of health insurance companies, not whether or not they are better than single payer systems? It's both. It's both. It's both. A single payer system is ameliorating the issue, but it's not a curative. A single payer system is not as good as universal healthcare paid for by taxation.
Like the application of the coverage, and it may be bad, that is not an excuse for murder. But for the left, if you hate the system, you are morally justified in murdering any...
Even a single payer system is predicated on the idea that you as a citizen can be left to die or deteriorate if you can't make payments. And then following from that, the social consequences, which are reflected in payments that society does pay for, by the way, just not reflected in the bank statements of individual rich persons who don't care about them. It does come out of society's pocket. Dealing with those people afterwards is a lot more expensive than treating them. So the issue is not the societal cost of healthcare. Just to be clear, anyone who says so is lying. They're flat out lying. Also, profit doesn't account for the crazy income that the top of the company gets. Yeah, no, that's something else too. It's like, this is after payouts. This is after they paid salaries. Is $6 billion. That's just there. That's just there. That $6 billion in profit, You know what you could do with 6 billion? Not 6 billion. You know what you could do with what is the 6% of it? It's. Let's see, United 6%, right? 6 billion. United Healthcare profits. Its net income is $6 billion. And its net profit margin is 6%. 6% of $6 billion. Okay? That's just profit. That's just sitting there. Clearly all those billions go to charity, right? Yeah, clearly. Clearly. All those billions go towards making sure that Americans who, for whatever reason, are not covered or their coverage fails under certain extreme conditions, that they're covered and allowed to be alive. Surely. No. Meanwhile, the people who run these companies are paid exorbitantly.
Anyone who acts within the system. That means that if, like one Bernie Sanders follower did, you believe that private healthcare kills Americans, you can go around murdering Congress people. I know.
Look, I didn't say it, okay? Jesus. Oh, I'm not going to listen to this goober anymore. We're just going to read the comments, okay? Because there's nobody's on his side. Just because the left likes something doesn't mean you have to instinctively hate it. Wake up and read the room, bro. Fact. Both left and right are cheering. We don't care about your feelings. I clicked this video so that I could dislike it. If there's one thing conservatives and liberals can agree on, it's that nobody wants to be sick in a world where the consequences are either death or bankruptcy. Saw my lifelong hardworking father become bankrupt as a result of claims being denied after getting cancer. You are out of touch, man. This comment section is humanity making sense for the first time in years. True. This just in, man with a $50 million net worth completely misses the point and is out of touch with the frustration of regular Americans. 6,000 upvotes. He always forgets that his beloved Israel's universal health care. Well, that's because Ben Shapiro's not Jewish. He hates his religion. He hates God and he hates his scriptures. He hates them. Hates them like nothing else. They are antithetical to everything he believes in. Jewish religion is a noble and ancient one, with tremendous philosophical and ethical nuance. And despite some disagreements I may have with certain tenets, has some very, in my opinion, honorable positions on usury and taking advantage of your neighbor. Because fundamentally, these texts are concerned with making sure that people are not eating the people they are responsible for. This guy hates Judaism. He hates it. That's why he wears its skin. I'm pointing at the hat. Who invaded? Why is YouTube like this? I can't even read it. It's like in white on white. Welcome, No Justice. How are you all doing? I thought he was Orthodox. He's not Orthodox. He doesn't give a shit about any of this. This guy, I guarantee you, okay, is going on Tinder and hooking up with random chicks in between going online and arguing for the most blatant violations of Jewish law imaginable. This guy ain't Orthodox. This guy is as Orthodox as a person who dresses in a feather headdress for Halloween. Is a practitioner of indigenous ways of knowing or something.
We buried that one. The media pretended it never happened. Steve Scalise is still limping today because he was nearly shot to death by a Bernie Sanders fan who believed that being part of the quote-unquote system that didn't nationalize healthcare meant you were a murderer.
It does, though. It does mean you're a murderer, Ben, just so you know. And so are you. You're complicit in murder. Just so you know. Complicit in murder at a massive scale. Of people in your audience, judging by these comments. As a conservative, I'm sick of rich elitists destroying the family unit, quite literally. I'm proud the left and right have united. I may not vote the same way, but damn it, I agree. We are tired of being pushed around. I love this guy. For now. I love this guy. I guess the left, quote-unquote, at this point is anyone who isn't a millionaire. Wow, maybe I've been wrong this entire time. Ben, I don't think you actually care about us. I think you just want our money. I think you want us to hate each other. True. And according to Ben, I went from Trump voter to revolutionary leftist in the span of a month. Nice. My God, conservatives, liberals, and lefties are hugging out in the comments. My God, this is beautiful. Yeah, this is class consciousness, friends. It is an ugly thing because it is only symptomatic of class oppression, but it is beautiful to see nonetheless. Here's the deal. This is how class actually works, and this is why leftists are better. This is why leftism is better, okay? Because it advocates for a universal class. The domination by a universal class, which is not vengeful. Here's what it actually means. Leftists want everybody to live according to the same rules. They want people to have to work for what they have if they can, and for us to not lose sight of that thing we had long before capitalism, which is we care about the people in our family groups so that they don't starve and die. The other side of this equation wants this. We want to float the illusion of you being able to join us in Elysium while we do everything we can to exclude anybody else from joining us. That's the difference. That's the difference. This guy's entire existence is lying to people and telling them, hey, look, you can be just like me if you work hard and eventually own the McDonald's. But that's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. And what's happening is that younger generations are not sitting in their houses at their TVs with their cars and their health insurance and feeling a little bit of pressure at the grocery store, but otherwise they have their ducks in a row and scowling at the blue-haired lazy freeloaders at universities on their tellies. The people who are watching are people who have gone out of high school, left their parents' house, and realized that having a house of their own is impossible. Is impossible. That's a perfect shortcut and print it. Editor, take a note, okay? In fact, this is what I'm going to do. When I say editor, I want you to look in the editors. I want you to look in the transcript and just search for editor. If I say editor, there's a thing I want you to look at, okay? There we go. I don't know why I didn't say that earlier. It's actually so obvious. They are finding that they can't have any of those things, and so when they feel pressure at the grocery store, when they feel pressure at the doctor's office, or have to make a decision between getting a tooth fixed or letting it rot further in order to pay rent now, they are hearing this person go, "Oh, somebody please think of the billionaires," and they laugh. Because at that moment, they know you. They know exactly who you are. And they know exactly what you have not done. They know exactly that you have not worked for where you are. They know that you've never actually had to deal with a dinnerless night or a 10-hour workday in the cold or a hospital bill you can't afford or a hospital trip you don't make. They've never seen like a parent or a wife or a loved one or a child deteriorate and die because you can't afford thousands of dollars out of pocket to go homeless to keep them alive. So you have to treat your family like ailing pets that you put down, but you're not allowed to put them down. That's murder. So you just have to watch them rot while still alive. You're not allowed to prevent the children from being born. That's murder. You just have to let them rot while they're still alive. He's very pro-life. You need life to maximize the suffering as a sacrifice to appease the demonic gods that rule you. And this guy won 100%. Felches. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Every other feature of a duck is there. I'm just calling that last one.
This stuff means that if you don't like that health insurers often deny coverage for certain pre-existing conditions or non-covered doctors or medication, you can then...
Yeah, those are all killing people, Ben, just so you know. Because just so you know, they're not just offering a service in a vacuum. They are also lobbying to make sure that the only option you have is to get coverage by those. So if you were denied by those, they've condemned you to death in many cases. Just so you know. I know we'll get lost in the comments, but we need to come together in class solidarity against the elites of society. No more left versus right, it's up versus down. Yes. What a cool post. Hate to break it to you, buddy, but it's not just the left who is sick of this. There is, I'm not gonna lie, these comments are making me feel patriotic as fuck. Yeah, well, bring up, let's not bring Hamas into this. Let's not bring Israel-Palestine into this. There's a reason why class solidarity transcends backgrounds when it's real, or transcends nationality when it's real. Doesn't transcend backgrounds necessarily, but it transcends nationalities. Absolutely. As a man with more right-leaning views myself, this isn't a left versus right topic in the slightest, Ben. This is a class problem. But I suppose a man with your amount of wealth would be very hard-pressed to ever find... This is a glorious thing to see people say. This is fantastic. Your rich privilege is showing. For anyone curious, I have an extension list of view dislikes. There are currently 6,000 dislikes, or likes to 28,000 dislikes. I wonder what a social blade is. Is he lost from this? I doubt it. I am curious. Let's see.
Why use Social Blade?
Wait, that's the YouTube channel. I want the YouTube channel. Why did I look that up on YouTube? Am I stupid? Social Blade. There we go. Ben Shapiro. Damn! He has. Let's see. Plus 40k last few days. It's just gone down a little bit. Doesn't matter. The problem is that a lot of the people who watch this stuff don't watch anything else. It's sad. Could we get ahead of the expected grifter pivot? What do you mean? Who's? How do we expect Shapiro reacts? What is the most grifter reads the room response? I don't know what you're talking about. Secret Asian Dan, but... Okay. This comment section is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I hope the working class keeps this momentum. It's rich versus poor. The amount of people that die at the hands of greedy corporations is disgusting, and it affects us all no matter what side of the political divide you fell on. I remember when I was reading about, I think it was on, was that on CNN? Is this here? Let's see. Like, look at this. This is wild. This is CNN's talking about the shooter being arrested. Authorities also recovered a, quote, fraudulent New Jersey ID matching the ID our suspect used to check into his New York City hostel before the shooting, unquote, Tish said. Tish is a New York police commissioner. Jessica Tish. It's a she. And a handwritten document that speaks both his motivation and mindset, NYPD Chief of Detectives Joseph Kenney said the document did not include specific threats, but indicated ill will towards corporate America. Oh. No. No. You know what? This person needed to be in Sunday school when they were younger. Oh. Such a nice boy. What a shame. At least he's quotable, though. Delay, deny, and defend. I think it was depose, actually. It was delay, deny, depose. Wasn't it? Yeah, it was delay, deny, and depose. Delay, deny, defend is the name of a book on insurance companies. On insurance company fraud, specifically. I am perplexed by this, though, because the whole idea of corporate America is intrinsically sinister sounding in our vernacular, even outside of America, just so you know. It is the most popular villain in television. Hollywood is obsessed with pretending like it's opposed to it. Hollywood is obsessed with pretending like its primarily target is rich hypocrisy. And class conscious, etc., etc. But don't go too far. Don't go too far. Don't be crazy or anything. Make sure you're middle of the road like Harry Potter and Iron Man, and then at the end of the day, everything will be exactly the same as it was before. However, you'll feel good about yourself. And all was right with the world. Because you're done caring. Some people think he's not the actual shooter in a Fed plant. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Who this guy is doesn't matter. Odds are, guy's nutso. Doesn't matter. Okay? This guy doesn't matter. Brian Thompson doesn't matter. Brian Thompson will be replaced with somebody else who have the exact same incentives, the exact same motives, etc., etc. All that matters is this. How did people react to it? What did the reaction say? Because if people came out and it was 50-50, right and left going, I'm not okay with murder, but and it was just an argument about that, that'd be one thing. But we're not seeing that. We're seeing near unanimous support on class lines, as in the majority of people, the vast, overwhelming majority of people who are affected by the policies put in place, that someone like Brian Thompson was incentivized to put in place, that the people who are negatively affected by those people are sending a very, very clear message. And there is genuine fear of copycat crimes. And the only people defending it are themselves in the same milieu as the target. So this is an overt class issue, which is, these are rare. These are rare. Because you're talking about critique at a systemic level that is now taking place. The conversation is not about whether or not the murder was okay. The conversation is about, well, hang on, but you are okay with murder. You've been okay with murder this entire time. Why are our murders acceptable? Ben, that's where it's gone. And lo and behold, the lines are drawn very, very cleanly. Destiny, millionaire, is convinced that you are detached if you think that the American healthcare system, which has resulted in a... Look at this. For anyone who hasn't seen this, everyone's seen it. It's practically a meme at this point. Okay? This is from 2023, all right? This is NPR. Just before Christmas, this is in 2023, March, just before Christmas, federal health officials confirmed life expectancy in America had dropped for a nearly unprecedented second year in a row, down to 76 years. My expectation is somewhere in the 80s. You're being murdered. As we speak. As we speak, your murder is being premeditated and carried out. Just so you know. You got old loved ones with you, their murder is being premeditated as we speak and carried out. And they may avoid this, it may fail. Some of these people will get through. But you, if you're making under, I was going to say $100,000 a year, but realistically, you probably need a bit more. If you're making under $200,000 a year, $150,000 a year roughly, you're being murdered right now. Even if you manage to pay for insurance, there are people, as we speak, who are figuring out ways at the scale, at an algorithmic scale, okay, of how to con you out of what you've paid into so that they can make money by making you die. Destiny literally spent 4 hours today on stream defending health insurance companies. Is so contrarian. This is what I think ends him and ends the illusion of him, because he's still going to appear on podcasts and shows and being introduced as leftist and progressive. Dear friends, he is not leftist and progressive. People like Destiny are not leftist or progressive. They're not capable of it. Here's what they are. They have sold themselves to be tokens for people who are anti-leftist and progressive as a loophole to allow themselves to get easy access to vulnerable, mentally challenged women. That's what Destiny is about. Just so you know. Just so you know. He spent 4 hours today on stream. I almost want to watch it out of morbid curiosity, but I'm bored by it. I'm bored. I'm bored by his existence. I don't want to watch his meth jaw. I don't want to watch this greasy, disgusting, deteriorated troglodyte rotting from the illicit drugs he's able to afford, in addition to the healthcare he's able to pay for to make sure it doesn't kill him as fast as it would somebody else, so that he can more efficiently grift off of the mass murder of thousands of kids. I'm good. I'm kind of done, because it's boring now. At a certain point, even that gets old. I'm just bored. I'm also, frankly, I'm done. I'm gonna be real here for a second, okay? I've had a couple of long talks with people, and I feel stupid on a lot of levels. I'm done with the Hassan Piker hate. I'm done with it. Not because I like him. I don't like him. I don't like him at all. I think he's dumb. I think he's dumb and irresponsible. But you want to know something? Dumb and irresponsible. When you look at what the other people are doing, the scales look like this. I just don't care. I just don't care. Like, I'm not going to bother with he talked to a Houthi guy. Really? Really? He talked to a Houthi? Even if he did talk to a Houthi guy. You know what the upshot of that is? A bunch of kids are now saying stuff that is optically disadvantageous to anti-genocide protesters. Okay, true, fair enough. But you want to know what the other guys are doing? The other guys are actively spending all of their time and energy directly advocating for the killing of children, and now for the killing of you. So I'm good. I just don't give a shit anymore. I'm bored of it. I'm bored of it. Like, it's old. It's like, oh really? Oh really? They're irresponsible over there at Twitch? I don't fucking care. Who cares? Who cares? Life's too short. Fuck these guys. Hassan doesn't need to seem that bad by comparison. Hassan's just a himbo. Like, I'm not offended by him. I don't get the impression when I watch Hassan, I don't get the impression that this guy behind the scenes is evil. I get the impression that this guy is spoiled and lazy and emotional and undisciplined and irresponsible. I do not get the impression of malice. When I look at people like Destiny, Dan, Ben Shapiro, I see malice. I see people who are motivated by impulses that are essentially predatory in nature. So I have no more truck with this concern trolling bullshit. I'm just done. I'm just done. What time is it? 3:33? Okay. Do we have time for something else? What do we got? I haven't had time to get into the South Korea stuff. I wanted to. I'm probably going to do that tomorrow. We do have a theory stream tonight, so we're going to be live again, so it's not a big deal how long this goes for. Hmm. 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 Let's see. What have we got in stream notes? Is there anything else going on? Somebody send me something. I don't really have a ton of time to go into something super in depth, but what's this? This looks interesting.
Well, it is a
Is this I don't know this channel. Is this a good channel? William Spaniel? Commitment problems. Why Assad fled, why it happened so quickly, and why the war lasted 13 years. This is going to be bullshit, isn't it?
Well, it is a historic day for Syria.
All facts. Thanks for the $5. Thanks for the Mark segment. Was good on stream and as a video theory. Thank you. The next one will be out soon. I'm quite pleased with how my editor turned that out. It was a good segment. We're going through we're doing a big theory and politics turn for the channel, which does not mean we're just going to be doing like unpopular content. We're not just going to be a book club or whatever. It just means that I'm not wasting time on like commentary related stuff. It's not worth it. Like I'll mention it like if I think it makes a germane point, especially since I've been kind of embedded in a lot of stuff sort of adjacent to that for a little while. But I'm just not wasting time. I think it's boring. I think it's unimportant. I feel like I'm losing brain cells doing it. It's just not fun. And it doesn't matter. And it's just, you know, rot your teeth. But we are actually going through all of Marx's Capital. Basically what's happening is I'm reading through it really hard, all of the notes, adjacent material as well, drawing in other things. And then as I learn it, I'm putting it on the theory menu. And I'm explaining it to the best of my ability, and hopefully in ways that make it more clear. Although, by the by, just updating you on the theory meter for people who are not aware, Zizek's speech on Zizek's talk on soft fascism, I think at Cambridge, is winning at 31%. Luna Oi's textbook, translated Vietnamese Marxism textbook, is in second at 26%. Cute accelerationism is at 25%, and a bad theory option, which triggers a new poll of bad theory options, just kook theory, crazy stuff. That's often very fun, is at 18%. 17% now. Damn, we're going for the good stuff. We are at $67, which means if we make $33 more in super chats with the word theory in the text, we are going to skip to a theory segment. At this point, the Zizek topic is winning. So vote if you care about what theory we're covering, and if you want us to skip to a theory segment, donate your put theory in your super chat. Jesus, I can't even speak. Oh my god, I got so much going on in my brain. Not smart stuff. I just have like so many things scheduled today. Ugh. I need to start a pharmaceutical habit like Destiny at this point. Jesus, can't focus on anything. What's this? Westside Tyler wished you death? What? Hang on, let's see this. What the fuck?
Being fucking.
Okay, I know I said no Westside Tyler content, but apparently he wished us death the other day. Because we're the only ones who responded to him, so apparently he's responding to me.
Very, very clean. This is an aspect of people being fucking idiots and not listen. First off, all of you that were responding to me,
You're fucking stupid. And I'm pissed at you a little bit. Like, I'm actually fucking irritated with you because you're not paying attention and you have your fucking head up your ass. This image.
So in this video, Hassan's Himbo Fitness merch isn't AI, but right. So me and a friend of the channel, who I'm not going to name under these circumstances, went over his video accusing Hassan's editor of using AI, which we're supposed to really care about for some reason. And the editor actually put a video up showing the process they used in order to make the image to account for the discrepancies that Tyler was seeing with his sleuthing. So that's not it, apparently. Apparently it's this one.
Image versus.
So the cover, what he's responding to is essentially my coverage of his witch hunt against AI users.
Is the one that's there. If you don't even understand how these processes work and you're trying to double check my investigation, just fucking end yourself. I don't know why you guys had the confidence to fucking reply to me. When you send something to the printers, it's an image. It goes away, all right? What you do...
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure that's TOS. Do with that what you will. Fascinating. What else have we got? What's something good we can cover in like an hour? Maybe under an hour. Under an hour. I've got to go play chess. I don't want to do the Assad thing. I want to read up on that myself more. Oh, we got a bad empanada mention. Beautiful. That'll do. That'll do. Ha ha. Hee hee. Ho ho. Nice. Nice. Thank you, you grisly monstrosity, for providing us with content. Healthcare CEO killing, Western hypocrisy, laid bare. You know what? I guarantee you I know what this is. I know what this is. I said a little while ago, in response to Bad Empanada making a community post. So, let me restart. I know what this is responding to. Bad Empanada made a community post a little while ago, claiming, saying that Netanyahu was able to visit the US and leave unharmed. The left has fallen. I interpreted this as him advocating for some mentally ill member of his audience while he's safe in Argentina, going out of their way to do an act of terrorism against Netanyahu. And I accused him of this because not just that he said this, but also he didn't have the balls to keep it up because he took it down because he wants to keep his sweet, sweet ad revenue. He responded to this by cutting me out of context and implying that I really cared about the health of Netanyahu. I thought it'd be a really terrible thing if something bad happened to Netanyahu. Okay? And now what he's doing is because a whole lot of people are going like, well, why are you fine with the CEO dying and not with Netanyahu dying? Netanyahu's killing tens of thousands of innocent people. Well, here's why. If there was an act of terrorism that injured or killed Netanyahu, he would be replaced by somebody else with the same ideological position as himself, and then there would be a perfect alibi for increasing repression of pro-Palestinian activism on college campuses and in public, and generally blanket acceptance of the genocide in Gaza. That'd be that. The CEO, by contrast, did not precipitate that. Why? Because the population that was directly being targeted by the CEO was his own population. It was the American population itself. And so what's happened is, as a consequence of this, a class awakening at some level has taken place that is advantageous to the cause of people who are being exploited and being killed by the American healthcare system. Whereas in the case of Netanyahu, and this is the point I made, if this happens, if somebody did this, you will have, in a very cowardly fashion, incited some vulnerable person to do violence on your behalf that will then only serve to be a tool to further harm other vulnerable people. Palestinians in this case. This fucking moron, this bloodthirsty fucking moron freak loser is really, really mad that, that people are coming together over the barbarity of the American healthcare system, but aren't approving his backseat murder fetish. That's what this is. Let's see. Apparently, I got to mention here. Oh, there's a comment. Apparently, what's this? Honorable mention. Immediate permanent ban for anyone who takes actually it's wrong to hurt Netanyahu, the guy doing the Holocaust, because I swear in my own head I invented a scenario where that makes the already happening Holocaust worse, unquote, at face value. He's twisting himself into knots to invent some ludicrous hypothetical to justify his double standards. There's a reason he's doing that for Netanyahu and not the CEO, and it's obvious. Rent-free. People who hear that sort of thing and nod along, taking it at face value as if it's an honest argument rather than mental gymnastics, are the reason why things like liberal Zionism can exist. You fucking moron. No, the reason why liberal Zionism can exist is because you exist as a fucking self-made psyop to give everybody perfect justification to turn their brains off and to just allow people who are taking a pro-Palestinian cause to be demonized on the basis of your reckless behavior. What an embarrassing loser. Rent fucking free. Oh, he deleted comments too. He deleted comments. There were other comments before. There were comments asking like, hey, so just to be clear, you're saying that there's a permanent ban? Actually, do I have that? Did I have that screenshotted? I might have had that screenshotted. Let me see. Hang on. Was I smart enough? Probably not. Probably not. Don't get excited. Don't get excited. It's distinctly possible I was not smart enough, but you never know. Did I? Oh, did I not? Did I not? Alas. Damn shame. Damn shame. But he's deleting comments about that. That's funny. That's very funny. I enjoy that. I enjoy that well, I mean, I would like to live in this man's head rent-free, and I do, except for the fact that it's awfully sticky in here. It's full of a familiar substance I haven't smelled since I covered Stephen Bennell earlier.
I know what you're all thinking. You're all thinking, oh, guys, what about the healthcare CEO who was killed in the USA? Wasn't that awesome? And all that shows is that Americans, even right-wing Americans, are in fact capable of understanding that there are people who cause immense harm to millions, hundreds of thousands of others, and they understand that when it's someone who does the bad things to them and their friends and their
like I can't stress this enough. This guy is so stupid, and his audience is so stupid that this is the message they're accepting. This is what they're eating. Yeah, we actually had some of his defenders come on a little while ago. You know what their argument was? Yeah, maybe terrorism against Netanyahu would be used to accelerate or defend the extermination of people in Gaza and the massacre of Palestinians. But they're going to die anyway. Like what? Why is he living in Argentina? Because if he was living in America, people could ask, hey, buddy, why are you telling other people to do stuff you're too afraid to do yourself? This guy would never do any of the stuff he advocates for. He's fucking terrified of it. This guy likes making money sitting on his ass for 2 hours a day, like I do. And he likes having a bunch of yes men surrounding him, making him feel good about himself, like I do. But I don't allow them to say near me, because I agree that hot water keeps you clean. But he'll never put his money where his mouth is. It'll never be him. It'll never be him. And the reason why he's bitter about this, is because he doesn't get to gloat about this. Because he has done nothing for people about this. His entire shtick is making people feel good about political disengagement because the system's bad, and they can feel good about not doing anything because they're not doing anything. Happy birthday, Sunday. It's not my birthday. Although if I had to guess as to why he's in Argentina, I look at his face, I look at his teeth, and I recognize that Argentina has legalized prostitution, and everything falls into place.
Own countrymen, and yet they denounce those who do it to them, to Americans themselves and their allies and stuff. All of that actually shows is that first worlders are more than anything else, that first worlders are enemies, not friends. Like first worlders, like President Sunday said, God forbid.
Oh my God, it's my name. But he won't talk to me. He's terrified of me. Just so you know, he'll say my name, which I like. Keep doing that, please. He'll say my name, but he won't talk to me. Terrified. Terrified of talking to me, which is strange. Oh, the video's fucking about me. What the fuck is this? I thought it just mentioned me. It's got me in it. Ugh.
God forbid anyone shoots Benjamin Netanyahu.
Why? Why? There's a reason for that. Why? Because I said something else. I said, if there was an unwaxed part of his floor, his janitor was a little bit sloppy one day, and he ended up slipping down some stairs and was never able to move or speak again, some good would be done. Is my concern over the well-being of Netanyahu, or is my concern over some Yahoo creating the conditions for Netan's injury and or death to be used as a pretext for more mass murder?
Like, I would say there's like an 80% chance minimum that he is celebrating the CEO shooting.
No, not really. I am celebrating the coming together of lower class people, regardless of their whatever they've been indoctrinated into politically. I think that's beautiful. But no, I don't celebrate dead people. First of all, because the person doesn't matter, because I'm a leftist. I'm not a red-coated fascist. And I recognize that the thing that matters is not individual evildoers, but systems that would coalesce around some individual, regardless of who it is, in these places like gravity, and that your enemy is not individual human beings which are replaceable, but with the systems that produce them. But also because that's not relevant. That's not relevant. What matters is a glorious opportunity for class consciousness raising, which you, in your resentful, parasitic dependency upon class appropriation for your bread and butter, you can't handle this. You hate this. You hate this because it doesn't include you.
Literally a week after uploading a video in which he said, God forbid anyone hurt Benjamin Netanyahu.
It's really simple. Murdering people is bad. Okay, it's one of the worst things you can do. And so when someone gets shot, whose bread and butter, who got obscenely rich off of murdering quietly a whole bunch of people by putting up barriers to them getting urgent medical care that they need, destroying their lives and those of their families, and causing cascades of misery and death for other people as well. My heart bleeds purple porpoise pus for them.
I have never seen a better example of the labor aristocrat right there. This is a guy.
I am a labor aristocrat. It's the Cardigans, isn't it? They do their work. They do look posh, don't they? A labor aristocrat. I am a labor aristocrat. Labor aristocrat. First of all, I don't think you know what that means. I don't think you know what that means, George. A labor aristocrat is a member of the proletariat, which I am not, because I'm not a worker. I'm like, I don't know what I am. I'm a YouTuber. I do something else. I make my own schedule. I have a certain amount of freedom that proletariat people don't typically have. But just to be clear, a proletariat aristocrat is somebody who benefits from is a member of the proletariat who benefits from lower wage earners from elsewhere. You are a labor aristocrat, George. We both are. Just so you know. Just FYI. I think it's a bullshit term, but just FYI. So are you. Did you spin that shirt yourself, George? You assemble that microphone from only ethically derived pieces and materials? No? No, I don't think so. You're not proletariat, but still working class? Yeah. Well, I'm definitely working class. I think what he means is bourgeois, which I am most certainly not.
Who a week ago was telling us, God forbid if Benjamin Netanyahu was to get hurt. God forbid if Benjamin
No. God forbid if Benjamin Netanyahu was the victim of an act of terrorism that then was a positive political boon to suppression of pro-Palestinian voices, so that the mass displacement and murder of Gazan Palestinians could proceed unencumbered, without any public outcry being heard. That's my issue. But you're hiding that, and it is interesting that he's hiding that. It is interesting that he's it is interesting that he's obscuring that. Why does he have to lie about my reasons? See, it would be very easy to just have a conversation. George, it'd be very easy to have a conversation. No, I don't think that would happen, or I don't think that would matter. And here's why he won't have that conversation. Because fundamentally, he doesn't disagree. He just doesn't care. He's perfectly fine with a whole lot of Palestinian people dying and a whole lot of pro-Palestinian activists being silenced and brutalized themselves, provided that he gets to be the hero on YouTube. Because he's a parasite. George is a parasite, and he's a coward. He will entice you to do violence, which he can then make content out of, but will never engage in it himself because that would be dangerous. And he wants to sit in a room and do commentary based off of his off-the-cuff opinions without having to leave the house for a job. And he wants to make a lot of money doing that. And he doesn't care about you. And he's angry when people have outpourings of support for an act of violence, or for, rather, attention being drawn to the violence perpetrated by the American healthcare system, because that doesn't include him. He has nothing to say to that. Because the only thing he has to sell is your own resentment mirrored back at you. I have no money, I have no charisma, I have no influence, I have no expertise. I don't even follow politics that closely, and so I don't know who to vote for if I have any power or whatever within this system. So I'm just not going to vote. And you know what? I'm going to feel good not doing it because it's all garbage anyways. They're all liars. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to fight the system by conscientiously objecting to participate in it, while they eat their chips and pay their taxes and pay for their gas and go on the bus and buy off Amazon and so on and so forth. That's what these people are. And it's pitiful. They don't count. They don't count. Aren't you lower? Aren't you petite bourgeois? No, I'm not. God, no. I'm sorry, just to be clear, does anybody think that I have money? I have a handful of cardigans, most of which were bought as gifts, and I have a room with bookshelves in it. Enough bookshelves to occupy this much space in my camera, and either side of me here. You know what books and cardigans have in common? They're cheap. I need some water, guys. I'll be right back. I have many leather-bound books. My apartment smells of rich mahogany. Actually, here's a pro tip for you. If you like leather-bound books, go online. I don't recommend this for stuff that's originally in English, but go onto Amazon or somewhere like that, A-Books maybe, and look for used copies of books by Franklin Library. Their earlier editions were actually very well made. They were factory made, but they were made in decent quality leather, thick pages, silk end papers. They're really gorgeous. One of my favorite books is their edition of Paradise Lost. Even when they went down in quality a little bit later, when they went to sort of a leatherette, their books are still very high quality. Highly recommend. You can find them, by the way, usually for under $60 Canadian. So books are cheap, by the way. Certain presses are robber barons, like Palgrave. Palgrave will sell you a slim little 100-page volume on economics for $150. Thieves, but books are a not crazily expensive hobby.
Netanyahu was to get hurt.
Did that against the interests of the Palestinian people. Why? Because if something were when you go back a little bit, so we have context. I disappeared for a couple minutes.
A week ago was telling us, God forbid if Benjamin Netanyahu was to get hurt. God forbid if Benjamin fucking Netanyahu was to get hurt.
Not to get hurt, was the victim of terrorism. There's a difference there. That's actually very important. See, Benjamin Netanyahu getting hurt is definitely not the worst thing that could happen in the world. Benjamin Netanyahu being targeted by, let's say, a leftist or a pro-Palestinian actor which then forms an event that can be used to justify putting tremendous more pressure down on pro-Palestinian activists and demonizing them publicly with great effect. That is bad. That is really bad. Why? Because that is all the power you have, is that leverage there. All you're doing, George, let's be clear, is yammering. You're in Argentina and you're yapping. That's what you're doing. Nobody cares. That's all you got. So people not being able to voice this publicly as a consequence of a crackdown on this type of position is bad. That is a neutering of your power. The reason why people aren't having this reaction to the past tense assassination of a insurance company CEO is that the result that has directly arisen was actually class unity on the issue of the exploitational nature of the American healthcare system. That's why. Unfortunately, the world is filled with diverse things that operate in diverse different ways. And this person being attacked has different consequences than this person being attacked. Between the two of them, I think Netanyahu probably deserved it more. But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That's not how it works. He did that against the interests of the Palestinian people. Why? Because if something were to happen, and I say probably, I mean definitely, God forbid, to be clear, somebody attempted to harm Netanyahu, the reaction would not be to the Palestinians' favor.
So yeah, this is precisely what I was talking about. That is precisely the example of what I was fucking talking about.
But you didn't say anything.
Americans, first worlders.
I'm Canadian, you morons. We're even more genocidal.
Listeners, they understand that when bad people do bad things that murder and massacre, cause immense suffering and harm among themselves, they understand that what that person is doing is so bad.
You think it's about... this moron is trying to spin it as if it matters who deserves it more. It doesn't matter who deserves it more, you fucking moron. Nobody cares. You think Netanyahu doesn't deserve it as much? Who cares? There's only one thing that matters. What are the consequences of the things that you do? What's the plan here after somebody does something to Netanyahu, and then that's used as a justification to crack down on pro-Palestinian activism so that nobody can say anything again? What, you just feel good about yourself? Oh yeah, he got his. So? George himself has pointed out that the quote-unquote moderating forces in Netanyahu's cabinet and in his government are genocidal nutbags themselves. So when we say moderate, that's to emphasize how fucking diabolical Netanyahu is. Which means that if something happened to Netanyahu and took him out of commission, he'd be replaced by someone as bad. Just to be clear. Just... unbelievable.
When people celebrate something bad happening to that person, they're fine with it. But Benjamin Netanyahu, well, he's killing Palestinians in the name of the US, in the name of the USA, in the name of the US government, in the name of Israel, in the name of, ultimately, things that do not negatively affect first worlders, things that do not negatively affect Americans, Westerners, first worlders.
No, actually, George. The issue is that what you're advocating for, which, by the way, the coward fucking lied and said, no, I just said I want them, maybe I meant I want people to give him a little kiss. Here's the problem, though. His post, his community post, didn't say he wanted something bad to happen to Netanyahu or he wanted someone to approach Netanyahu. He said Netanyahu was able to leave the United States fine, the left has fallen. Which doesn't bear any of that content, which means that when he wrote that, he actually did 100% intend to incite someone in his audience to commit an act of terrorism at their own expense, at the expense of Palestinians, for nothing except to satisfy his power trip. This man is a parasite.
So ultimately, to harm Benjamin Netanyahu is unacceptable. However, to harm an American healthcare CEO who profits off harming Americans, now that is fine.
No, it's not. It actually matters tremendously what the result is. Just to be clear, tremendously. It is also the case that I'm not allowed to say certain things on YouTube because of its rules, otherwise I get silenced, similar to you. Similar as to why you deleted your post. See, because once again, this bears emphasizing. He didn't just incite his audience to commit an act of terror against Netanyahu. He deleted it afterwards. He hid it. He was not willing to endanger his channel, much less himself. But he was perfectly willing to endanger his audience. As the individual members of his audience, he was perfectly willing to endanger Palestinians. Because they're all dead anyways. See, George knows what George has figured this out. They're all dead anyways, so it's okay. It's great, actually. There's no consequences. He can do whatever he wants. What a parasitic freak. What an actual parasitic freak. And now he's angry. Because people are happy about somebody else dying, not the person he wanted. But here's the crucial point: he doesn't want Netanyahu to be attacked because it will help Palestinians. He wants Netanyahu to be attacked because it'll make him feel good. I actually remember seeing the community note. I wish I could have screenshotted it. I did. It's okay. I got it. We're good. I actually got one better, though. Where did I put it? It's been a little while. I've got one better. See. Fuck, come on. No, give me the frickin' DMs. Come on. Stupid pizzas. No, not indirect messages. What the hell? Hang on, one sec. There we go. Okay. God, that's annoying. I got something better. See, I have a preview for the post from before it was deleted. Because I sent it as a link. Not expecting it to be deleted. I didn't expect he was that cowardly. Surely I didn't. I thought he had more balls than that. But he's run from me before, so I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. So if I put this up here and there, boom, here we go. Here's the post. Benjamin Netanyahu was in New York. He was totally fine. It's sad to see how far the American left has fallen. He deleted this. You can't find it anymore. Because he's a coward. He's a fucking coward. Negative balls. That's what condemns him ultimately. It's not that he has this position, which is stupid and self-serving. It's not that he endangered his audience, which is pathetic, while he's hiding in Argentina. It's that on top of all of this, he deleted it. He fucking deleted it. He did not have the balls to stand on this. Why? Because then he'd have to work. Then he'd lose his YouTube channel or get it suspended, and he wouldn't be able to go eat at restaurants every night. He wouldn't be able to pay for his prostitutes as easily. That's why. What a wretched loser. Anywho, my voice is going, so that's all I have for today, and I have a chess competition to attend. So I'm going to we'll be back tonight. Assuming my voice is back. If my voice is gone, it'll be a little bit difficult, but if I'm able to speak, we will be doing some more of Klosowski's Living Currency tonight. And I'm not sure what we're doing tomorrow, but we will see. I'm trying to plan this out a bit more. It's been crazy as Christmas comes up and a whole bunch of other things are going down. But I'm liking the new move towards political content, so it's been better. All right, take it easy, everyone. Have a good night. Cheerio. I will see you tomorrow. Who's live right now? I'll send you to our relevant, okay? See you live? See you live presently, or is that Actually, I wonder. No way. I couldn't do that, could I? Nope. Is the Vanguard live? I'll send you to our relevant. Take it easy. Cherish the good small things. Heidi ho.